Welcome to the Not Axe Murderers podcast. This is episode 7, which doesn't have a catchy title yet, but will when it releases. I'm one of your co-hosts, Flare Gun, and
I am the water boy, Graham.
And today, we have a very special guest. So, Bill, if you want to introduce yourself, who are you? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Bill Fienberg, aka Bildo on Axe Scores. I'm an axe thrower. I'm a host of an axe throwing podcast. I'm. This will be a spoiler alert for later, but I'm opening up in a venue in OKC soon. So, I imagine we can dive into the little bit details later on. Wait, where do you want to go first?
What about a little bit past history of you before you? Kind of similar to like what you like to talk about. Well, you're a guest, but where were you before axe throwing?
Oh, geez.
I know all over the place, right?
I tried all of the hobbies, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I could make a living doing any of them. I couldn't. And then it's like, oh, axe throwing. Still can't. Let's see here. I think the first hobby, when I was in high school, I started playing guitar, and so I got to be. I was in a band for like 2 years. We went on tours. I say that like because it's like it was the MySpace days, and it's just like you go and like our drummer would just message somebody on MySpace. He's like, all right, I got us a show in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Like, all right, I guess we're going to South Carolina. I hope that one's in South Carolina. That could be in North Carolina. I don't even remember. Anyway, and it's taught guitar lessons at like a Best Buy for like a year. That was awful. It's like it's like if you want to stop liking guitar, go try and teach somebody to play Smoke on the Water for a couple hours. So it's like, all right, cool. Guitar, that's not going to work. I got into photography because I was working at Best Buy and just like bought myself a camera, taught myself all the settings. And it's like, oh, maybe I could do a job with this. It's like, nope, can't. Like weddings? No, thank you. I don't want to. I did. Here. It was like I got to go back to college, right? And so, because I had an associate degree in accounting, so I went back to college for business while I was in business school. During college, I tried stand-up comedy. That was the worst.
You have a joke for us that you can.
No, the joke is that I don't do comedy. Okay, here. This is a story. My partner and I, we went to Universal Studios to go to like Simpsons and Harry Potter World, and so I stopped at an open mic in Orlando that I had done like, I don't know, 11 years earlier or something like that. This open mic was still going on, and there was nobody at the show, like other than comedians. And so the host is just like, anybody else want to go up? Like, oh, well, what are you here for? And then I told the host, I was like, oh man, I did this open mic like 11 years ago. And he's like, do you want to go up? I was like, no, I don't do comedy no more. And he's like, look at you now. He's like, you're out of the game. You're here with, he's like, you're doing better. You got out. So it's, I like comedy is like had the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I just wasn't like, I feel like I liked writing jokes more than performing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I wasn't even good at writing them. It's just I was just worse at. Anyway, I don't even know if there's any. I don't even think I have anything on the internet really. It's just anyway. It was just bad 20. Anyway, like 20 something. Like I had no I had no life experience to draw on. After comedy, I guess. I got into this is before comedy. I did jiu-jitsu. I made it to purple belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I had 6 amateur MMA fights in Ohio. It was enough to go pro back in like 2009. And it's like I didn't actually mind like the competing part. I hated cutting weight. Like I would
making class.
Like, hey, would you rather fight somebody or like have to like not eat the tasty things in the household? I was like, I'll fight somebody. Like that is easier for me to do than it is to like walk past Oreos and not have a problem.
You were interviewing someone about that, and I think you said you would like starved yourself or whatever, so you could make a class, and then right after you weighed in and you were good, you went out and ate and just like ate whatever you really wanted.
like because I couldn't sleep. I had to cut weight. I think that was like August 2009. Was that? Oh, I might even still remember the Rock and Rumble. Maybe I don't know. It was like, but yeah, no, like I did not cut weight the right way, so I didn't eat for like 36 hours. I think I didn't drink water for like 24 hours. I couldn't sleep because I was starving. And so I just stayed up like most of the night just packing my lunch. And it was like, ooh. And then instead of just picking at some of it, I ate the entire lunch that I had spent like an hour packing. And then I was just like that. And I think weigh-ins for amateurs were at noon. And I think I was one of the earlier fights, so I had to fight at like 6:30 or 7. And so like by like 3 o'clock, I was like, I really hope like I might throw up in the ring. Like if I like
Oh
Don't throw up, don't pass out.
no!
I did not. I won the fight. It was a rear naked choke at like 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the third round. But it was like, you know, in like in movies, how like have you ever had like a scene from a movie in your head, like you're like, oh, I'm in my own movie scene right now, where
Yeah.
it was coming out of coming out of the second round, going into the third round, and I had this like thought like. And I've had this in axe throwing too, where it's like you have to hit this clutch, and there's that, there's no, you can't miss. Like missing is not an option. Like and I haven't had that feeling many times, but like when you've had it, it's like the flow state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like coming out of the second round, it's like you need to get a takedown in the third round to like I think I won the first round, he won the second round. You need to take, and so it's like. And I just kind of felt like, and even though I was like still uncomfortable from eating too much, still like it came out and just like poured everything I had. I got the takedown and it was like, okay, cool. But it was just like one of those moments where like, people talk about like having like to dig deep. That was kind of it. And it's like, oh, that's cool. I wish I could like tap that frequently. And it's like, oh no, I guess I get like one of those a decade. Yeah. So that was MMA, and after MMA, comedy, not good at comedy. Tried to go back to like jujitsu, and it's like there's just once I lost my cardio, couldn't get back into it. And then I found the first hobby that actually is like a career, which is writing software. And so then I kind of like went kind of all into writing software for a few years. Still do. That's my job. That's my day job. And then. It was through a birthday party of some of my friends in tech that I went to my first birthday party to throw axes.
Very cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. So I guess that's how you got like introduced to axe throwing. So how long ago was that? How long have you been throwing? And then did you start throwing IATF or did you start like more waddle kind of based? Or was it just unaffiliated?
So it was 2017, so it was about 7 years ago. I think it was around December. So I guess this would be like my 7th year of Axis. Anyway, it was Urban Axis Austin. So like I think it was the Orange Arena for anybody that's been there, the one on the south side of the building. Anyway, it was friend's birthday. I was not good. Like I don't think I stuck for like. I think it took me like I was one of the last people to stick, but because I kept changing every variable every time. It's like, okay, move my feet closer and lean a little farther and throw a little harder. Okay, and then it's like I was changing 3 variables every time. And then once I just kind of like, all right, that one seemed close, and I like locked in one variable. And it's like, okay, my distance. And they're like, okay, lean. What's the right amount of lean? Okay, then I like locked in the right amount of lean. And then I like, all right, where's my power? Then I locked in the power, and it's like, oh, okay. And then I end up like, figuring out and like sticking consistently. And I think like came in second place of like the birthday tournament. To the birthday dude. So it was like I did not want to. And then we signed up. A bunch of us signed up for League. So I think like 4 people from that birthday party signed up for League. And then I joined Wednesday Blue. And I never left Wednesday Blue until I moved from Austin to Oklahoma. So, and then when I got to Oklahoma City, there is no ITF. I'm working on that. And I can actually say that, because I did before. I'm like, oh, I'd like to do that one day. It's like, no, I was there last night, like with like a Brad Naylor. But, yeah. And so I started throwing waddle, and like, I like them both, right? Like they, like standard. I loved standard, but it got to the point where like you kind of just got like it could get boring if you were like trying to, like when I was like really trying to like compete. I just want like, I don't have a lot of time. I just want to do the most intense competition. And then I realized like, I was starting to lose sight of the fun part of it. And I had to like actually cultivate. And so I, didn't get to throw for a little bit. Started throwing a waddle league, and it was cool. It was like new rules, and I tried all it's like maybe I'll do a step throw with my ace hatches. Like nope, like that's not gonna work. And yeah, so then I got into waddle, and I basically throw marathons right now. I don't have enough time in the week to do like weekly leagues. I wish I did, but yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
that I was say was that Waddle the OG Waddle when the bull, I think it was the kills the bulls were really big.
No, so I got this was 2021. So
okay,
I missed like the beach ball bullseyes and like the beach ball kill shots. But I think I tried at one point to like throw on one of those retro targets, but with an S-wing. Like I threw an S-wing recently at Swamp Axe in Gainesville, just because it was on the wall. It's like, I haven't thrown one of these in a while. It's like, oh yeah, these things like nosedive. No, so the 2021 target, that was 2 upper kills, no lower kills, I think, and then you had the center 6 and then the 5 around it.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like you could semantically version the different targets. You're like, that's IATF 2020 target, or that's the Waddle 2022 target.
This is the hybrid Waddle. It's like so many. What else?
Go ahead.
Oh, good.
One of the things on my like never gonna do to-do list, like I want to do this. Is I'd like to go through and just create like a Wikipedia page or something to that effect that shows like the progression of the targets, and not just like for essentially all the targets I can find.
If you ever, be awesome.
Do you know Chris Ross out of Michigan? Ross. Okay, I loved his Michigan rolls and his target, and he came to Choppers once, and I did that for a marathon, and it's a nice little blend of both worlds. It's really cool.
If you like you should check out the World Blade League.
That's his, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's what we did at the Yearathon. It was cool. It's like because he was doing like the low corners and like the the kind of partial scores for World Blade League. I don't even know when that came out, but like it's kind of like a hybrid between like the IETF. It's like 5, like 1 big ITF bullseye and then like 4 little ITF bullseyes.
Okay.
Around the corners. But it's best a match or like league match is 3 rounds of 5, right? So it's like
it was different
format, but kind of with the move around the target of like the Waddle 2024 rules. So it's like kind of in that Venn diagram.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So am I theoretically virtually in the presence of another member?
You are, absolutely. I don't have I don't have my wallet on me. I don't know if my card is in my wallet, but I have one of those cards somewhere.
That was a fun thing I got. I mean, you got the T-shirt and you got the card. I'm like, I wasn't expecting that at all. It's like, that's really cool. That was really cool that Chris did that.
I interviewed Chris Ross after the Yearathon. I don't remember what we talked about. That was a long time ago. 2024 has been a year.
So this is going back a little bit, but I wanted to circle back to like that birthday party really quick. So for you, I know you said you weren't doing that great immediately, but did you fall in love with axe throwing immediately? What was the big draw for you that was really like, oh, I want to continue doing this and I do want to sign up for a league?
So, right, it was like it kind of went like in the birthday party. Like it was like frustrating because I consider myself I did martial arts and I do all these other like kind of active things, and it's like I feel like I should be able to do this. This can't be that difficult. But then it was, and then when I finally did stick, it was so satisfying. And then it's like, but then you're like, can I do it again? Right. And then I don't remember if I stuck it on the second time or if I dropped, because I probably dropped because I probably like, now I need to change something because what I just did worked. So that means change stuff because I'm an idiot. But and so then it's like you start sticking consistently, like, ooh, it's like little dopamine hits each time, right? And then it's like, oh, we're gonna, we had a group, like like the competition, right? Like I remember like like so somebody had to go for a kill shot, right, in like the birthday tournament, right? And it's like it's a tournament. The goal is to advance, right? Like, and there's not like a prize, but it's just like it's fun, right? Like this is a friendly competition, and just that like, and I remember like the idea that like hitting the kill shot just seemed impossible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like you see somebody like get a lucky kill shot like at a birthday party, and just to watch them like erupt with joy and surprise, and like it's like it's infectious. Like it is really cool to see that. And I think like it's like, oh, that was cool, right? And didn't really know anything about the leagues. The leagues were either, it might have been, I think it was the second league they had ever done. I think the leagues had started 2017, and then I think I joined the first league of 2018. And it's like, oh, we had a group of people. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just go hang out with my friends, and then started making new friends at league. And then now, like those, the people that I made at league, I have some like lifelong friends in there, right? That I met at axe throwing. And so it's like once I got to league and actually like started like meeting people, and like, oh, like I have people here. Like this is like I feel like I belong here. That's like, oh yeah, the throwing's cool. And it was almost like the community kind of kept me coming back. And it's like, and then just by the act of like continuously coming back, like started to get better. And then as I started to get better, then it's like, oh well, maybe I could throw an 81 one day or something like that. And so like some of the like, I didn't start out at like the first league like, oh, I want to throw an 81 one day. Like it seemed impossible back then, right? And then I think by like the second or third season, I think James Gregg was the first one to throw an 81 in Austin. And you're like, oh, well, like I feel like I've been, kind of competitive with James, and so it's like maybe I could, and then I was able to like hit and so then you're okay, cool. Then it's like just back to the bullseye thing, like, oh, I did it once, can I do it again, right? So I think for me, it like. For whatever reason, my ADHD hyperfocus is like, yeah, this will do. We can work with this.
Oh, not the ADHD hyperfocus. That's too relatable. Oh boy, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and when you can like get to it, you're like, oh, this is amazing. Like it really does. Sometimes it feels like it can be like an advantage at the right times. It can be an absolute curse a lot of the time.
Oh yeah. Yep. 100%. I mean, I think it was definitely an advantage. I mean, it's one of the reasons that I was also very inspired to start a podcast when I got into axe throwing, right? Because it's like, 100%, no breaks, all the way, go, chug it through. So I definitely understand that.
Yep. I have a question for you about your ADHD hyperfocus. This is more about like video games. Because out of all of like the addictive things there are that I've done in the world, video games are the ones that's like, oh no, this one is the most problematic for me, right? Like, it's like, oh, I can go out and have a couple drinks and that be the end of the night, and that's fine. Or like, I feel like there's a lot of things I can mess with moderation, but video games, like, I will like, I have almost peed my pants playing video games. I could pause. That is absurd.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
No, I don't know what I was gonna say.
I definitely agree. I'm like, I love video games, but I do know that, so I have to be like very picky when I play a video game because I know that it can get very bad very fast. So like I think on Baldur's Gate 3 I have over like 300 hours logged and I still haven't completed it because I'm like it's impossible. It's not at all, but you're there and you can't move and it's like it grabs your brain gremlins.
Yep. Especially if it doesn't help with like, is that a side quest? Oh my god, I love side quests.
Yep, yes, those are the worst, especially when there's so many side quests and then you never do the main quest and I'm like, this is what my life feels like all the time, and the game is making it worse.
Yep. I still never beat Final Fantasy VII. I played
Oh,
that game for
man.
dozens. But at this point, I'm like, I'll just go watch the ending on YouTube. Like somebody else did the work. I'll just enjoy the movie parts. Then the worst part is you're like, oh, I love this, so like I want to complete this because like whoever like gave me ADHD and like perfectionism about the things I enjoy and like completionism, it's like, oh, this is a horrible curse.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, I've been there. I definitely understand. It's a time. It's a time. For me, it also gets really bad when I'm like like crafting stuff, or like if I'm working on like a costume or something, and then like I've been there. Like I try not to do this anymore. I'm much better about this, but like especially during COVID, it was like 5 days, barely any sleep, like didn't even shout, like was just there the whole time sitting and working, couldn't stop. So yeah.
Yeah, like how do you all know when like when something's done, right? Like because to me it's like, oh well, I could do a little like, and it's just keep doing more laps around the same thing, like, oh, I can make this a little better, I can make that a little better, I can make that a little better. Like that's why the venue's not open yet. Because anything that I can rabbit hole on, I do. And that's like, is anybody going to see this? No, but I'm going to know it's there.
Ooh, side quest.
Yes.
Yep.
At least for me, before I try like starting a project, I'll usually try like, I guess the easiest way to like frame this is if it's like a fashion project, I will like try and sketch it out so that way I know what the idea is. And if I'm like, if it looks like this, then hopefully it'll be good enough. But then and it'll be done for 2 weeks, And then sometimes that's enough for the ADHD to forget about it, or I'll have to go back and keep working on it.
Just have to hope it escapes the ADHD gravitational pull.
Yep. Yep. um.
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Bags. That's what I was. Clothing and bags, but also axe bags. Oh. Yeah. So, so what's in your axe bag?
Cool. I've tried a handful of different ones. I've never spent a bunch of money on one of the big ones. I've been thinking about getting one of the Gorilla Boys. I've been thinking about it.
Yes.
But like, and I think if I did, I think I'd probably buy one from like using Tyler Flynn's promo code because
there you go.
Because that man deserves. Tyler, I'm sorry that I interviewed you for so many hours. I'm sorry to you, your family, your friends, your partner, your pets. That was absurd. That was excessive. So I think I'd buy a Gorilla Boy with Tyler Flynn's promo code. I don't know what it is. I should know that. If I'm gonna say, you guys know how the internet works. I bet you can find it on there.
Yeah.
I just have like it's like one of those little like backpacky soft shell rifle cases.
Okay.
Yep.
Because one of the things that I've learned switching from like IETF to Waddle and kind of like trying to do a little bit of both is right. Like so, Waddle handles for big axe are shorter. Right? I think the minimum is 25. Right? IETF, I think the minimum, or no, it's like 23 and 25 or 25 and 27. I think 23, 25. But that extra 2 inches on the handle kind of changes which bags can be an option. Because I also wanted to have the same bag for flying that I do for like just local, right? Because I know some people are like, oh, that's like my local bag and that's my travel bag. It's like at an airport. Like I just want to be able to like strap this thing to my backpack or like on like a backpack and just carry it so my hands are free. As far as what's in there, right now, oh boy. Actually, we're adding. We have lockers at our venue.
Okay.
That's like something that because like I want to be able to ride my bike there, and I don't want to have to carry axes on a bike again. I've done that before. That was a mistake. So my bag is in my locker. I've got a Gabe Grinnell It's like pretty much like the bare minimum you can get for IETF. It's like an old Plum, like hammerback style that like Heathrow filed and kind of cleaned up. So I think it's pretty much right at like the minimum of all of the minimums. Is like as close as minimum as could. I've been throwing it. I think it's just over 3 inches in blade. I've been throwing it for premier clutches because I'm stupid in practice. Like I did. But it's like, oh, if I can hit a premier clutch. I did throw a premier 81 in practice with a 3-inch, like once. I did it one time.
That's awesome.
I think it was just I think it was luck. Big axe. Honestly, I'm just throwing like one of the small ag doors on like a shortened stock handle. I do think I need to invest in an IETF big axe, but that's also just me trying to justify buying more axes.
Yep, we all do
it's
it.
Like honestly, I could probably just have it like profiled. That's one of the things that took me way too long to appreciate is that like just getting an axe properly profiled. I don't know how to do it, but just like once you've had one that is, and then you try and throw one that's not, you're like, oh, like this is. So let's see. So that's ITF, Agdor, Big Axe, Gabe Grinnell for Hatchet, Gabe's throw files. Then for Waddle, I have a Dustin Wellman Big Axe. I'm convinced that thing is enchanted. Like, you know how like in like D&D or some games you're like, okay, well this is a a plus, or this is a normal sword, this is a +1 sword, this is a +2 sword, right? I feel like I feel like my stock axes are all just normal. I feel like most custom axes are like a +1, like and I feel like that's a +2. Like, I don't know, I didn't know it when I bought it, but I think after throwing it, I was like, I think this one's kind of magical. It's like I should get a nice picture of it, but it's like got kind of like lots of like kind of black and green kind of accents. So it is a very pretty axe. To the point where like I've offered to let people throw it, and they're like, I'm too scared to throw it. Let's see here for Waddle Hatchet. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between. I have a Wasp Head and a Cascadia, but I also don't really practice Waddle Hatchet. For 2024 rules, I also have a Gabe Grinnell it's a Cataclysm Head from Jessica Renner on a Gabe Grinnell handle. This thing is like a toothpick. It looks like a little tiny battle axe. One of the sides is dull, and it just tumbles through the air. I basically was like, just make the handle let's see, like it's like oval shaped, and I never had one of those. It's like so these rules are going away next year, and I knew that could have happened. This was, I think I had a commission before then. I was like, that's fine. Like let's see what happens. But it is fun to throw. It is very fun to throw. It got me pro league, so it got me my Waddle bid for Worlds. Big X got me my Waddle bid for Worlds this year. Duels, just throw on just a beat up King, right? Just because like that that Finn I think is probably, I'd say like at least saved my duels partner and I half a point on our duels average. Knives, I've been throwing Barbaros for knives. I have a set of Barbaros. I've also been throwing at Worlds. I bought them at Worlds and then threw them at Worlds and went 3-2 with them. A set of Blackhawks from Josh Egger at Mountain Axe Works. So shout out to him. Also, a special shout out to him because he adopted one of my foster puppies this year, which is like the sweetest thing that did. Side note, at one point this year, I had 14 dogs in my house. That's why I didn't get to go to a lot of tournaments in 2024.
My goodness.
I overdosed on dogs. My partner and I, we have 2, and then we found 2 outside in the cold in January. So then we brought them inside to save them from the cold, took them to the shelter once the shelter was open, go on the youth list. So we're like, well, we didn't save them from the cold, so they get put down in the shelter. Bring them out of the shelter. One of them's pregnant, and then she has 10 puppies in our laundry room. So we went from 2 to 4 to 14. So shout out to Josh Eggert, Mountain Axe Works, for adopting one of my puppies. That puppy's name was, we named it Cashew. I think it got renamed to Maple.
Aww.
I can find pictures. If you want puppy pictures, I can find puppy pictures.
What's harder, creating a venue or 14 dogs or X/puppies?
What? 14 dogs, puppies for sure. Like with with the venue, it's just like, okay, like I can just take my foot off the gas for, like, if I want to be lazy for a day trying to build a venue, that's fine. I'm just paying rent out of pocket. That's like, it hurts, but it's like, that's a choice I can make. Puppies, you don't have any choices. And you're like, I'll wait. It'll be fine. You're like, oh no, the crate is a nightmare. But it is one of the puppies was fulfilling. Like, I used to joke, I'm like, oh, like I'm a piece of garbage. Like I'm not a good person. And I say the puppy's like, all right, I feel a little better about myself after saving some puppies.
Oh, that's
how did that
good.
affect? I was gonna say, how did that affect you and your partner's routine? Like, you take turns, like, they're like children, basically. So you're having to like.
It disintegrated it. Like, it obliterated it. Like, it is like, oh, did you have a normal life before? It's like, you don't anymore. And and then you right, because everything, like all of like the triggers and responses and everything that you normally do, that's all different. And so that new habits emerge to like fill the new spaces. And I'm still trying to get rid of some of those ones. It's like, oh, I can't go out and do stuff, or it's like, can't. So it's like in 2024, it's like, oh, like maybe I'll start collecting allocated whiskey. And then it's like, oh, okay. Well, I just got this fancy whiskey. I should drink the whiskey. And you're like, I'm drinking by myself. Not supposed to do that. And so it's like, all right. So now it's like, all right, just going back to this tried and true PBR out with friends. Or
there you go.
Actually, I have one on standby. I consider this like hanging out with friends. So
nice.
Yeah, that's good. I think.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Oh, okay. No, you're fine. I was just gonna say, my family actually had something similar. We rescued a dog who ended up also being pregnant this past year. So yeah, we didn't get.
How many puppies did you get?
Only 5. So we already had 2 dogs at the time, but so that way we only ended up with 8 dogs. But currently
only 8.
only 8. But somehow we've ended up keeping 3 of the puppies, so now we're only at 6.
You kept 3. Wait, yeah. So is there like okay. Yeah, that's so do you have 6 forever dogs?
6 forever dogs, yeah. 4 of them are very small. So they're not, because the puppy we rescued that ended up, she was a Chihuahua. So
okay.
yeah. 2 of them are like bigger dogs, but the others are very small.
Gotcha. Yeah, the one that we found, the puppies are like, we did a DNA test on one of them because when trying to get them adopted, people always want to ask like, what breed is it? And you're like, well, I feel like I need to know but then I also need to know, like, because if it's like, oh, if it's on a breed restricted list, like people need to know that for apartments. So I also didn't know that dogs can have 2, like, or multiple dads in one litter.
Oh yeah.
So it's like 10 puppies come out. Those could be 2 different dads. Didn't 100%. Know they could do that. And so we like DNA tested one of them, and it came back like it's like German Shepherd, Pit Bull Terrier, Super Mutt, which was just like a bucket of, it's like a Husky and Pyrenees. So like all the dogs have turned out to be about 50 pounds, but our other dog's like 85, and then one of them's 55. So we have like 200 pounds of dog in the house now.
That's still a lot. That is quite a lot.
That's a lot. It's too much. It's a lot of dog.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. Lots of dogging around. I don't know. I was going to try making a joke, but it really failed. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Oh. I get bullied by these drums.
You do.
No. Oh, man.
How do y'all decide who gets to control the soundboard? Or do you compete over it?
I think they're just Discord sounds that you're using, right? So I don't really mess with the Discord sounds because I've got like a bunch of my other tech stuff I'm making sure isn't breaking. So I just let Graham go crazy.
That
Cannot
makes sense.
disclose where I get my stuff.
I'm sorry.
Can't disclose it.
I'm sorry. The free Discord sounds. I'm sorry for disclosing them. My apologies.
Yes, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not even one, is it? No. That's only 6 of them. And yet I make 6 work throughout almost every podcast.
That's plenty.
Bad thing I found them.
Yeah. No, six is plenty. I think if there were more, it could go bad real fast.
The amount of times I've been tempted to put my credit card in and be like, I'll buy that sound. This is a good one. Trying to be good.
Oh yeah,
What can I annoy her with?
I saw a meme this week that said like it was something like born too late for affordable college, too early. No, too late for affordable college, too early to be a TikTok star, born just in time to spend 99 cents on a ringtone.
Yes. Sounds slightly DMAC-ish.
I think the ringtone that I actually have right now, I think I paid like $1.99 for it in 2000 and it was a long time ago. I think it was like 2012 maybe. And I just haven't changed it.
You're getting a good return on that $1.99.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like it has paid for itself hundreds of times over. Do y'all have like just like the guilty pleasures? Like for example, like I love Touch Tunes, like the Touch Tunes jukebox.
Yes.
Oh, like I especially because I love to try and find the most obscure stuff on there. I've never done the John Mulaney like What's New Pussycat like 10 times in a row. But I did play Bleed by Meshuggah at like a Buffalo Wild Wings in the suburbs, and they unplugged the jukebox.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That's amazing.
Epic.
The only time I actually didn't even know what Touch Tunes was until I started hanging out with like the Axe crew at Baltimore, because like a lot of people will go to this one bar and they have like the Touch Tunes jukebox, and I was like, that's crazy that you can just do that. It blew my mind. But then I always freak out when I go to put my music in there because I listen to like super obscure music. So then nothing I listen to is ever in there. So then I have to sit at the box for like 5 minutes and find some semblance of like normal song that I know. And I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is so fine. I shouldn't have done this.
I think I had that problem, and my solution was to make like a Spotify playlist of like common Touch Tune songs.
Oh.
I think I did that. That sounds like something I would do. I don't know if I named it yeah. That or it might be also kind of the same problem for like karaoke. You're like, oh, I don't know what karaoke songs are available. Same thing. You're like, oh, if it's on karaoke, it's probably on Touch Tunes. But I agree. It is insane that you're like, for $2, I get to pick the music. I shouldn't have that much power. This should be way more than that. I'm pretty sure that I've like ruined an entire Saturday night bar, like hip bar times.
Yes.
And it's like, no, I just wanted to come and get a sandwich, and I was like, it was like close to like my mom's house after she had passed. And I was like going through some shit, and they're like, I want to listen to the music I want to listen to. Screw everybody else. Like, and then it's like after an hour, like, what's the music? I wanted to dance.
Yeah, that bar. Shout out to Sharkies here in Baltimore. So yes, I'm also a Touch Tune craziness. Shout out to Alan and Rob.
Oh my god.
Mainly Rob. Rob hates me more because of this. I love to fast pass him. He'll put on a song, he'll look what I did. And then I'll just fast pass him. And he'll be like, God damn it, who fast passed me? And of course he looks right at me and I can't keep a straight face. And he's like, Graham, did you fast pass me? I'm like, no. Like, you did, didn't you, Graham? Yeah.
It is fun. I've made friends with a stranger at a bar in Philly once where I put on my random music, and then somebody else played a song from one of these obscure artists, and it's like nobody ever does that. Is somebody speaking back to me through the touch tunes? And so then for like an hour, it was like me, this stranger, and then a couple other random people, and like we're kind of just playing like obscure kind of like just like pop punk kind of music. And my partner and I are looking around, we're trying to like, where, like, do we have a friend here? Can you see who it is? And after like 6 songs, we like look over and she's like, oh, I think it's that dude at the bar because he's playing bar drums. And I was like, oh, I think you're right. And then next song, it's like confirmed. It's like, hey, dude, have you been bullying the jukebox too? Like, can I give you a hug? Like, just had a small chit chat, and then we just went our separate ways. And it's like that was it's like that was a friend I'm never gonna see again, but they're still a friend.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
See, for me, this artist at that bar, Sharky's, this last weekend. It was last week, I think. Celebrating one of our league member Pickle's birthday, and he puts on his music to me, which I think is obscure. You guys might know it. Sam, you might have heard him talk about it, but he is a huge fan. Oh, here it is. King Gizzard.
Heard of? Never listened.
It is so weird and bizarre. His wife doesn't like it much, but he's playing it, and yeah.
Now you're just making me curious. If you're like this is bad, you're like, well, now I have to listen to it.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Now I'm gonna go listen to it. It's on TouchTunes. Oh, I'm gonna listen to it more.
It is on TouchTunes, yeah.
Oh, the people in the suburbs of Oklahoma City are not gonna like me.
Well, have you thought about putting a TouchTunes in your axe venue?
Oh yes.
100%, absolutely. Like there's so there is, I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna look. There is a competitor to TouchTunes that has a larger selection, but like nobody has the app. But I've thought about like, it's like weird because I'm confronted with lots of decisions of like, well, this would be the smart business thing to do, presumably, I hope, is like to do the thing that has like the larger reach and is more familiar. But I'm like, but also like I'm one of my customers too, and
Yeah.
like I want, let's see, it might be like AVM Music or something like that. I don't know. I'll look it up and try and remember. But yeah, so I definitely want to do one of that. I've actually done. I've always tried to find like ways to like introduce like free or cheap like stakes when playing like friendly competitive matches. And one time somebody, one of my friends from League, we were basically whoever lost, or basically like you'd have to write down a song that like you despise, and then whoever lost, their song got played.
That's fun.
And so I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so it's like but it kind of made it silly, and then you're like, then it like almost kind of it like flipped it. You're like, oh, I used to not like that song, but now it makes me chuckle because of a story.
I love it again. Yeah. Is there anything else you're thinking of adding to the venue, possibly? That would be something different, fun, and.
So one of the things that I'd like to do, and this goes back to kind of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because I think, and this is kind of coming from like, you know, like people talk like growing the sport, right? I think that means different things. Yeah. There are different ways to do that. I mean, it means different stuff to different people, right? For me, when I say I want more people to like, I think at this point, a lot of people have like thrown an axe and they're like, oh, I tried it. I wasn't good. Not for me. Right. And it's like, to like, I think like the throwing isn't that difficult, like, you know, if like it, but like just I want people to like get to a league, and like actually see like how strong like how many friends you could meet, or like how cool a league can be, right? Because like by that like so I'm trying to think about ways to get people in the door. Well, I got to open the doors first to get people in the door that maybe would never come in through the door, right? And so one thing, like when I was in Austin and I played D&D, we used to struggle to find a place to play, right? Because oftentimes, like, we'd start at like 7, and D&D is usually 3 or 4 hours, so we'd play to like 10 or 11, right? But like a lot of places close before 10, right? So like, so it's like coffee shops aren't really an option. And so we ended up going to like a brewery and playing, and that worked out really well, and it was cool. And like they took good care of us, we took care of them, as like win-win. And so I think it'd actually be cool if, like, essentially, in like there's basically there's going to be a lot of experiments to see what does and doesn't work, or what doesn't take. But like I think it'd be cool, like, to be able to like host, like, oh hey, like you could play D&D here too, like almost like, I know Axe Throwing places oftentimes have like board games, but it's almost like, but I think it'd be cool to have like frequent board game, like coordinated board game nights. Like, hey, like come in and play, maybe play a couple board games with people you don't know, or like a league member board game night or something like that. I think that's something that I think could be cool, because I love board games. If anybody's ever finished a game of Twilight Imperium, please tell me how, because I've tried 4 times and it's never worked. So that's something like, I know Timber Beast in Medina, Ohio. I think they have some pinball, like either a pinball machine or a couple pinball machines. I'm a fan of pinball, so I think pinball could be a cool thing. It's not a big space, so it's like, it's not. I'm gonna have to like pick one and then see if it doesn't work. So it's like probably have to start with something like cheap and flexible to kind of see what does and doesn't take. Yeah. I mean, so the venue that it's the name of it is Community Axe Throwing. The website is public, communityaxe.com. Now I have to go update it. I just made work for myself. So it's going to be the hope is that it'll be an ITF for axes and then WKTL for knives. So kind of like
cool.
Like, yeah. So there's a venue down in College Station, Texas, called The Cut, run by Fancy Lad Tony Luce. So that's currently what they're doing. It's like, I didn't know you could do that till they did that, and it's like, I'd like to do that also. Yeah. I also like, I want to do a lot of marathon, right? Like, or I think it'd be cool, like, to do like frequent kind of just like, I've seen some battle locations in Canada do this, where like after league people hang out and play like mini games and just kind of mess around, and that's something that like was one of my favorite parts about Austin. But I feel like in OKC, like, it's not as common, and so I'd like to try and like essentially like, hey, like, just because league ended doesn't mean we have to stop playing. Like,
Absolutely.
so now we can play other stuff. And I've like, thought about like, maybe it'd be cool to do like, I don't know, just like a cheap, like, say you had like, I don't know, like 8 people or something, or maybe like after league, you're like, you want to do a cheap like $10 buy-in 8-person tournament, right?
Yeah.
Of course, if you're doing like IATF playoff rules, an 8-person tournament could still take 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One place to be nice to check out is if you ever make it to the East Coast, so just reach out to Otter Guy out of Medusa Meadery. They're an IATF.
Okay.
Okay. They do either once, I want to say maybe it's once a month, or maybe once a week.
It's once
every
a
other.
month.
They do, but it is once a month. Okay, you know what I'm about to say. They do a D&D night there. And they got board games there. They do all sorts of fun stuff there, and so
Okay.
I pick their brain.
Yeah, because I know they also, especially Otter Guy, but because he runs they also do monthly marathons, and those are like a big thing because those are easier for us, like the people in Baltimore, to like go up and travel for those, just versus trying to throw a league there. So it's like, I think those doing more marathons is a great way to really help facilitate and like build community, especially even if it's not like so centrally localized community. So yeah.
Well, so I think the closest ITF venues to Oklahoma City, I think the Cut in College Station, I think that's like 4.5 hours away. Urban Axe is Austin, so that's like 6 hours away. If you had traffic, make it 8. And then I don't think there's really much nearby in the north. Yeah, so there's really not a lot, and there's a lot of throwers in the region. Like there's a lot of throwers from Tulsa that are curious, that like have never thrown ITF and want to give it a try, or then even some of like the surrounding states, like people like Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, like so. Even like I think like North Texas, like there's like it's kind of a dead zone here, and I'm hoping to fix that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that
we hope to see that.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yes.
So speaking of, things being far away, where's the furthest you've kind of traveled to throw? And have you traveled away from your own area? I mean, to be able to throw.
Oh yeah. I think I've pretty much thrown, like if you were to draw like a big box from like Texas, I guess I haven't really thrown that far. But I guess it'd be more of like a triangle. So like Texas up to Toronto, down to Florida, like everywhere kind of in there. Started throwing at Urban Axis Austin, moved to Oklahoma, started throwing at Twisted Axis Throw House at both locations, and Oklahoma Axe Factory in Norman. I was really bummed when Oklahoma Axe Factory closed. I've just on road trips, like because I got family in Ohio, so I've driven from Oklahoma to Ohio a bunch of times, and I would try and stop at places. So like I stopped at I think Tommy Hawk's in Springfield. Bummer, I think they're another place that close, which stinks. But that was a cool spot. I've thrown a bunch of places in Ohio, so Timber Beast. Been to Ironside. I guess I've been up to Des Moines for Ironside. It's a model tournament. When I went to Florida for a music festival back in October, I went over to Swamp Axe, which is
Cool.
Dylan and Chrissy Teets.
That's such
really
a
nice
good
venue.
name.
That is it. Also, especially because like if I recall correctly, the University of Florida Gators, like I think their football stadium is referred to as the Swamp or something like that.
Oh.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not only is it a pun, but it's like it's also like a local reference. So that was a cool spot. So like I try and go pretty much. I went to Omaha. I got a sister that lives there. Took my niece and nephew axe throwing at some just projection kind of target place there. There's like unaffiliated. So it's like I like to go to as many places as I can. It's just travel. I've been to Toronto for axe throwing. I went to ITC 2020 and ITC 2022. But then I've also traveled to Toronto for work, and then I was like, I had Toronto for. I think I went to like 4 different battle locations around Toronto, and like shout out to John Miller, because it's just like, oh hey, I saw you and Tuesday at what's it? Stockyards, I think. And then it's like, oh, okay, then we're gonna be at Portland's, all right? Then we're gonna be at Vaughan, and so it's like, and it was just cool. Just like I'm just gonna come crash a bunch of battle leagues. But it was cool because I got to see what other league cultures are like, and it's I think one of the things that I love about like the ITF that I think I wish I saw more of in Waddle is because in ITF week 8 matters, right? And like it's not like your average doesn't really matter as much, right? But like week 8 still matters, and wins and losses still matter. And so I think that it's like it's like more fun versus like, oh, I'm just throwing for an average because I'm trying to get a bid.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, once you have a bid, and you're like, all right, cool, now I can screw around and be silly and have fun. But it's like that, like, oh, I kind of have to pick between like fun and competitive versus I think in ITF, I think I think it's just been more of that. And also like I've only done I've only really thrown Waddle marathons like around Oklahoma, or I mean Waddle weekly leagues. Because marathons are, I really have done marathons somewhere else. But yeah, I think that like trying to figure out like ways to make sure that like it is fun, right? Because like that's what kept me coming back when I signed up for my first league. Is that like, oh, throwing is fun, but the socializing is also fun.
Yes, absolutely. That's not the same thing for me with Waddle versus I do both. And for me in Waddle, it's the first 7 weeks are I give this past season, I gave myself a goal. It's when they opened up the new targets, obviously. I'm like, I'm just going to go for the highest score. I'm not going for win-loss. I'm just going to get the highest score I can. So I'll have 7 weeks to do that. And then comes week 8. I'm in the playoffs no matter what, and just have fun. And then you just kind of have that different drive. Whereas ITF, what do you really want to get out of the season? But it's still fun, though. Sam knows. Sam and I are in one league already. We've been in the league, 3 seasons now, Sam, I think?
Yeah.
And yeah, our league is also very fun. And we have ones, like you said, that have outside of work or outside of league stuff. And then we have leagues that do hang out after league and, have a little fun too. So
cool. Have y'all got to throw on the 2025 rules yet?
For Waddle?
Yeah.
Yes. My venue, Krabby Axe, we did since Waddle announced the beta test before the new year starts, they did one 2 weekends ago, I think. And you in my head, I'm like, just because we did that, and then they did an OG board with the giant before, and I'm like, how big are they? And they're explaining how big they are because I never had played on those really old ones. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should hit that, center bowl easy. It's like nothing. It's like hitting an IATF bowl, piece of cake. Nope. The amount of time we would miss that, even for just getting, breaking the line, you still miss. But yeah, we did that like 2 weekends ago. We did 2025. It was a lot of fun. I think, it'll bring the challenging back together for the people who are beginners or average, and bring that barrier between us and other more higher ranked players at our venue, and just make it more competitive. I think it'd be more enjoyable.
We just did a little like in-house kind of exhibition tournament at Twisted Axes, and I really enjoyed it. Because I think one of the biggest like in-game like feeling differences is you're up 1 going into like 9 and 10, right? Because before, when it was like a tiny, like a 3/4 inch bullseye and 1.5 inches 5, you're like, I'm not certain I'm going to hit that 6, and there's a chance I miss the 5, which would be catastrophic, right? But now that it's expanded, it's like, oh, I'm highly confident I will at least hit a 5. And I'm pretty confident I'll hit the 6. And so it's like to be up 1 and confident you're going to hit the 6, and knowing that if they have to hit, now that the outer kill shot ring is worth 7, it's like, oh, if I hit a comfortable 6 and they clip the outer, then we're just tied.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, it's only like going from like the outer ring going from 6 to 7 is not a huge difference, but like in gameplay, like even against somebody that like my brain had to do like went down a different thought pattern when I ran into that playing it. So also one of the things I'm really excited about is somebody had said that like, oh, before the 2024 rules, I felt like maybe one day I could throw a 64. Right. And then when 2024 rules came out, they're like, I'm never going to throw a 64. It's impossible for me to throw a 64. And then I think with the 2025 rules, I think 64s feel like attainable to more people again. Yeah. Which I think is cool. Like I hate the idea of somebody like doing something for a long time and like never being able to throw a perfect game.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting that 64 maybe this season or this coming year because of these board changes. I think it's very more obtainable for a lot more people. So yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I only have one. I talk about like I have a bunch. I only have a single 64, so
hey.
It's not like
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
That is not.
So what all do you have? You have a 64. I'm assuming you have a standard 81.
Standard 81, no Premier 81. I Premier 81. I'm like, I don't know. I've only thrown one in practice and tried a good amount. I have a Big Axe 32, Big Axe 46.
Nice.
I think that's it. No duels. No duels 81. No dual 64. I've thrown a dual 64 in practice. No Big Axe 81. Although if I get an ITF venue, then I think I'll be able to throw a Big Axe 81.
Obtainable. Yep. No, that's good.
And a duels 81. Shout out to Sleeves as my doubles partner at ITC. One of them, 2022.
Very cool.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that's it on the score milestones. I don't have any of the coins. I don't know if I want them because it sounds like
really
you have the. I mean, well, it's if you possess a challenge coin, but
yes.
then you're not carrying it, and then like there's a coin drop, and it's like, oh. And so like I can be a forgetful person, right? Like, and so I don't know if I'm like I don't know if the coins would serve me well.
You don't want that pressure. I gotcha.
That or I feel like I'd have to like engineer some kind of way, like I can never forget the coin. Didn't somebody? I think I've seen somebody that makes sheaths that like embed the coin into the sheath.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
people
cool.
on the East Coast to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing. Obviously, that means you have to bring your axe to. I guess it depends on, like I need to bring this in. Like, this has my coin, or just bring it in a sheath, just carrying around a sheath.
Yeah. Why do you have an axe on your hip? Oh, because I have my coin.
Yeah, I think
Have y'all ever?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh no, you go.
Okay, I think one of the other most common ways I've seen a lot of people have them is like one of those they get the little keychains for their wallet that you can slip it into because most people, or like for their keys. I mean, because a lot of people do that because they're easy to carry around.
Do they carry all of them or just one? Because that's like I'm already like a carabiner on belt loop kind of guy, and like I'm getting pretty close to like high school janitor territory when it comes to like things on my keychain.
I feel like you'd only want to carry whatever you feel maybe most accomplished, maybe. But we have there's a thrower out of Krabby, and she has a standard 81. She has both Big Axe coins for Waddle, and she has this like a little tiny. It looks like a cloth dice bag, but no, it's full of all her coins, and she likes to rub it in her face nicely, of course. She'd be like, "Oh, what do we have here? This one." But she carries them, so. But yeah, you're right.
It's cool. Like, would that be a coin purse?
Yeah, a coin purse.
Or a pouch?
Coin pouch.
Yeah. Now my ADHD brain. So like, I got a new water bottle recently, and I've seen water bottles that have like national park stickers on it. Yeah. I'm imagining like a water bottle that has like the axe throwing milestones and just like stickers you could apply. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
I know they have 81
look, another
stickers. Oh no.
Nah, I'm not going to do that one. I know myself well enough. I'm like, that's an idea. Just put it out. It's like at this point, that's a side. I can see the side quest a mile away.
Oh man.
Does anybody? Surely like there's just shirts, right? Like just milestone shirts, like just a coin version of a shirt.
I don't know.
I think just for 81. I think someone's fabricated an 81 standard, but to my knowledge, I've not seen anything else.
Yeah, we've got to talk to Chris Ross at Axe Supplies. Just get some.
That's true.
Would that count if you're wearing a coin? Like I guess you need the coin itself.
You probably would. That would be a Joey the Hat question. So
yeah,
it might have to be grandfathered into his rules.
I think so because I pretty recently read the entire coin packet of rules, and I think it has to. Yeah, there's actually there's a handout for the coin rules. Yeah,
it's a document. Yep.
And
a living, breathing document.
Yeah, I think you have to have like the physical actual coin on you, and then it has to be like on your persons or within the same room as you. So if it's like, it can't be a representation of the coin, so that would probably have to be added like in addition to the rules based on the pre-written document.
Kind of like a Horcrux.
Yeah.
Nice reference. Nice. Very good.
It's
like we were at throwing bows out of Baltimore. Her house, her old pool. Rest in peace. She's getting a new. Another member came over and she coin challenged us in the pool, and of course, no one has their coin. And
that's a jerk move. Wait, but I mean, like,
but it's fun.
Is it? But it's like, it's at somebody's house.
Yeah, because you're supposed to have your. Good.
I mean, like, I guess, is there like, do you just accrue like a balance of drinks owed at that point? You're like, all right, next time we go out, you get the first. Because that, like, I feel like you're like, cool, I'll go to the fridge for you. I'll go get a beer out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, how did that challenge work? Because based off my understanding of the rules, there's no like IOUs. It's like now or never.
Yeah, I think as Bill pointed out, it just turned into a little laugh and chuckle. Like, I got you, I got all of you who are in this pool right now.
Okay. It wasn't like okay, we're not gonna DoorDash the shots. Got it.
New idea though.
Oh no, that would be so brutal on the wallet. Oh my gosh. Coin challenges are scary. They're a scary beast.
They definitely are.
Yeah, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you never know when they're gonna, because sometimes, like, especially when you're in a new environment, you don't know who has one.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you don't know what's gonna happen, and yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, especially at like tournaments and stuff. I've heard of someone forgetting their coin, or like they did a coin challenge and everyone had them, and then you have a tab that's gonna be hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, that's crazy, bro. that shit's gonna get sewn to my skin. It's not going anywhere.
It's but body modification. I would like to get an implant. What would you like? This coin, please.
Yep.
Going through TSA, they're like, "Do you have any metal on you?" Boy, do I.
Can you please remove it? Nope.
No, I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Oh man. This really. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so with all your accomplishments, yes, Bill, of your coins, what other accomplishments do you feel like you've done in your life accidentally?
Oh,
you're happy and proud of.
Honestly, like, by far and away, the most, like, I think the one that I earned the most was the Yearathon, right?
That is true. That's a good one.
So for those that don't know what the Yearathon is, Chris Ross, Total X, is a madman. And so it's like and like I interviewed him on my podcast, and like, so I don't remember how much of this I said on there, but I'll try and give like the abridged version. So a marathon, you throw an entire season in one day, right? Well, the Yearathon, you throw an entire year in one weekend. And the way it worked for us was I think there was 12 of us. I think it was capped at 16. And somehow we got 12, maybe 12 or 11. I can't remember exactly. What was cool is like a lot of these people I had never met before. So it's like a lot of throwers out of Carolina. I think the only person I'd really known was DMAC. And then so it was a cool way to kind of like get to know a bunch of other people over a long delirious weekend. But so we gathered at like Friday evening and just started throwing. And the format was there were 6 regular seasons, and everybody got 1 regular season off to sleep. And then because there's so few of us, I think Chris kind of let people try and like kind of decide which ones, or like kind of like adjust to the schedule. There was the option to try and throw all 6, but the conditions were that like if you start one, you have to finish it, and if you don't finish it,
Valid.
or if you don't finish every season, you don't qualify for the end of year-a-thon tournament. And I told myself, I was like, oh, give me enough coffee. Like I'd probably last 36 hours or something. And then so we started throwing Friday, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere on there. I think I picked mine to be like the I think I tried to take like I think I took like a 6 to 10 kind of like sleep shift or something. It's like maybe season 4 or 5 off, which ended up being like I got to go sleep from like 6 a.m. till like 10 a.m. or something.
Oh my god. That's awful.
So throwing nonstop, and then the way that he introduced stakes into each tournament or into each season was whoever won the first season, because they'd presumably be the most fresh, was the 1 seed going into the final tournament. And so the final tournament was single elimination unless you won a season. So winning a season was a major incentive for the final tournament, because it's like to go from single elimination to double elimination, was like, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think lots of good throwers. I think like the final, like the top 5, it was me, D-Mac, Sexy Calves, Matt, Muddy, I can't remember how to pronounce the last name. Sorry, Matt. And then Bulls out of Charlotte. I can't remember that. Damn it! Can't remember everybody's name. Sorry. It's gonna come to me as soon as I stop thinking about it. Or literally as soon as we stop the recording, I'm like, that's what it was.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd say that's probably like the one that I felt where like I put in the most work for, because it was like 36 hours of throwing. Like and it was competitive matches. I was also trying to throw like a perfect score, which I think in World Blade League is a 102. Because so it's a league match is 15 throws, and I think it's the centers are 7s on the corners, so there'd be 28 there. And then I think the center bowl is worth 6. So I think that gets you to 34 times 3. Yeah, 102. That sounds right.
It does.
I think the highest anybody got when we were doing it was a 98. So it'd be like 13 out of 15 perfect throws. And I think the centers were on the corner shots were 1.5 inches. So like kind of Waddle 2024 kills. I have a feeling that like I think that like with as good as people got at Waddle 2024, I think that somebody would throw a World Blade League 102. I think Chris Ross is doing a marathon where I think there might even be a prize for the first person to throw one, but I could be mistaken. You have to check the internet.
What were your sleeping arrangements? What did you do?
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
For that one, so like I travel a good amount for work, and so like I end up just trying to like stay. If there's a Hyatt nearby, I try and stay at a Hyatt because I have like loyalty points through there. And there was one, I felt like an idiot because it's like there's a Hyatt like 16 minutes away, but then there's like a cheap place 8 minutes away, and it's like, oh, I only have a small amount of time, but like just that, like just knowing like I could talk pretty much nonstop, and I'm like I'd never thought of myself as an extrovert growing up, but I was like, oh, I think I'm an extrovert. But when I run out of peopling, it's like, no, I need to go recharge, and so it's like having that. I did stop at like an REI, and I'm like, maybe they got like a reasonable cot I could use or something, and just sleep on the floor. I did pass out on, you know how a lot of venues have like their throne or like their social media chair picture, like
I've seen some of those, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Ross has one of those. I fell asleep on that thing, but it's like a chair made out of lumber, not like I think the way that, and it's like oversized, so you could fit like a couple on it, or you could fit like like multiple people kind of like crowd in on it. So I think I like slid my head under the armrest because it's like you could fit through there.
Okay.
And then I think I draped my legs up across on the other armrest, and I fell asleep like that. And Chris got a picture from the
Good.
security cams of me sleeping like that. So yeah, yeah, that was and then the prize, the trophy for said event was like if somebody gets cremated, they get like
Yeah.
an
An urn.
that the ashes go into. It was an urn, and it had some like an inscription like in loving memory, my arm and desire to throw axes. Total Axe Urathon Champ 2023 or something like that. Originally, the intention was, I think, Chris had made like these like little like completion plaque things, right? And he's like, and anybody that doesn't finish the marathon, we basically secure your little plaque to the wall, and then we destroy it by throwing axes at it. And then you like, and he's like, I wanted to like basically take all the destroyed ones and burn them and put the ashes in the urn. He's like, but then I worried that anybody that might be flying, that might be hard to like a weird conversation for TSA. Like, are these remains like they're not? It's not biological.
We're gonna have to test them.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you could just here's an empty urn, and then here's your plaque.
Nice.
Oh man, yeah, that is very cool. I would love for, I don't know if there has been an IATF event like that, but I think an IATF event like that at some point would be very cool.
One thing that we did not do, and I think that if anybody ever tried to do that, one, talk to Chris because like he's the madman that came up with it, and so he probably tell you all the stuff. He's like, I just the what's and the whys, and but we didn't do Big Axe tiebreakers in regular season. Or no, we didn't do Big Axe, and so World Blade League. I forget what we did for tiebreakers. Maybe just started going around the corner, or just do another lap around the corners. I think until somebody misses. But we didn't do tiebreakers in regular season. So we just let a tie in the regular season be a tie, because like it is going to be long enough anyways.
Yeah.
But I think if something like that happened with like if there's like an ITF style Urathon, I don't know how you would do Big Axe tiebreakers, especially because Big Axe you throw sequentially. Right, so it's like, if you can both throw at the same time, you can go twice as fast, right? If you throw them parallel,
Right.
But because you throw it in sequence, that adds a lot of time, which is also one of the things I think adds a lot of fun, because like if you can tune out the other thrower, like I think that's beneficial in Waddle. You're like, oh, I'm not throwing against anybody. But in IETF, when it comes time for Big Axe, it's like, okay, I'm going first. Like, all right, I need to hit this bull, otherwise I'm leaving the door open, right?
Yeah.
Or like if they go first, like they just hit a bull. Like I need to hit a bull to stay alive. Like the number of times when the match is on the line, I think is or the round is on the line. Like the number of high pressure throws, I think, is so much more, which I enjoy. Because in Waddle, a lot of times it's like, oh, it's out of reach. Sometimes by the turn, It's like if you get like a 4 speed or something, you're like, okay, cool. Like not really, kind of just keep cruising. Versus ITF, like I like how the rounds reset, so it's like there's more like, okay, I lost a round, but like I'm still in it.
Yes. That's interesting because you say that about the Big Axe. The Medusal Meadery, they only have 2 lanes. So when you walk in, you have one to the left, one to the right. Their left, the ceiling is too low to do Big Axe. So Big Axe is only done on one side. As well as, since it's only 2, you're both throwing at the same time. They don't wait. They don't do any of that. You just go at the same.
Interesting. So I've thrown ITF Big Axe like in practice next to people. I guess ITF Big Axe leagues, do you throw one at a time, or do you still throw, or do you throw side by side? Or does it depend on
Urban, it probably depends on the venue, because Urban, we have Monday Rec League, and we've done Big Axe, and it'll be four lanes, basically, but they will restrict you to stay on only one side. The other person is in a whole other lane away from you. You're still at the same time, but you're separated.
Gotcha. So it's like you can only throw half as quickly.
Kind of.
Or you only have 2 people throwing at once instead of 4.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, we can run 2 matches only at a time versus we could be actually doing 4, but we also have a barrier. Some people like to be further back, and the barrier will get in the way. So that'd be another issue.
That's one of the things that I did do that like was important to both. My business partner's name's Han. Him and I throw ITF or Waddle doubles together. We got our Waddle bid together, so this will be our second year going to Waddle Worlds for.
Congrats, Han.
And I met him at League, so that's awesome. It's like I met him at League. It was like, oh, like you're obsessed with throwing things too. It's like we should hang out. And then so we're like, we want our lane tables, right? The ones that like the judges will sit at. We've been to a venue down near Fort Worth, Midlothian, Texas, Battle Axes. Zach Van, that's his venue. Went down there for a marathon. Cool venue. But the tables were on wheels, so you can kind of move them in and out.
Oh, cool.
And because like if we're doing ITF and WKTL, like all right, well, that's like a big, ITF Big X starts really far back, especially if somebody's tall, like it takes a big step. You're like, you're talking like they're starting like 24 feet from the board. And so it's like, we want to be able to move our stuff back to accommodate that. But we also want to be like, oh, nobody's doing Big X. Like, okay, we can just scoot up and be closer. Question for you, because this is a semantic question. When you say a lane, is a lane 1 target or is a lane 2 targets?
I think when I say a lane, I usually think of like 2 targets. Like I think of like the lane that's usually separated by another pillar, right? Because those 2 lanes, wait, I said 2 lanes. Wait, maybe it is 1. Wait, I confused myself. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if there's like so I think if I say a target, everybody knows like that's singular. Like I don't think everybody's like which one or 2, like 1. But I feel like sometimes like lane gets used for both single and double. And I've heard people say like arena. It's like I guess like an arena is like 4. Like I think Wednesday Blue took up 4 targets, but it's like 2 sides. I don't know if there's a right answer.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's a different venue dependent.
Right. I think it's definitely that's something really interesting that I don't know if it like should be solidified, but I guess maybe coming up with like a solid term could help. So I don't know. So there's just like a little less confusion, because if you are in one side, if you're on one target and you have to switch to another target, I don't know. I don't think it's ever been an issue, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think that it's making my brain think that it's an issue because it seems more confusing. But when you're there physically, I don't think it's as confusing.
I feel like maybe like the term like bay, or I just talked to my dad and he's like an alley. It's like he's like bowling, they call it an alley. It's like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe like 2 could be like an alley, and then 1 target is like a lane, maybe. I don't know. That's interesting.
I just call them sides. When I'm judging, I'm like, all right, tap axes, switch sides. And I was like, it's a side. But that's I guess very generic term, I guess they call them.
Yeah.
Like, because I guess if you're at like a tournament, they're like you're up on lane 3, but lane 3 means both of the targets at that.
True.
lane.
Yeah.
That's
you're
true.
right. Yeah.
Right. They don't say like you're up on target 5 or target 6.
6 left, please, 3. Or 6 right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess then it probably would be two targets is a lane in that sense, especially if we're talking about tournaments.
Yeah, I think I've convinced myself.
Yeah. Two is a lane, because I know not all venues do the colors, but I know some larger venues have like the colored lanes, and I think I don't know, I feel like that can make it more confusing. Not Words are so hard today, I'm sorry. I think the colors can help differentiate the lanes more so than being like, it's right here. I don't know where I'm going with this. I really am failing English, but that's fine.
It makes sense.
Okay.
I've seen some places like like national parks. You're like, okay, like you're up on Denali or whatever, or you're up on Yosemite. I thought about it, I was like, do I want to do anything like that at Community X? Like, nah, maybe I should just finish it and open the doors first and not go down a rabbit hole of like, what should I name these spaces? Like, it doesn't matter.
This is Mind Flare. This is the lanes from Mind Flare. Go to Mind Flare. This is the palette. Choppers is like that. If you ever been to Choppers, all their lanes are named after areas in New Jersey. Wow.
Okay. I've never been to Choppers, and it makes me sad, especially because like I have axe throwing friends and not axe throwing friends in Philly, but I've only been to Philly a couple times. I did get to go to Urban Philly before it closed. It's like
good.
I have to go to Mecca, like
yes.
And it was like a couple weeks or months or something before they closed. Like that I love that, like that industrial feel, and I feel like for better or worse, my venue is gonna feel kind of like that. It's not. It's small. It's only 6 targets, so 3 lanes.
Okay.
But it's only like less than 2,000 square feet. Not big. I'm like, I just need big enough to do like an ITF league, and I also wanted to be like, because I was looking at like locations for a while, and I was really trying to like, I didn't want to compromise on like where it is, and so the place that we have is like it's in the same plaza as like next door. There's like a retro kind of bar, like and then there's a like it kind of looks like a grandma's basement kind of bar, like wood paneling on the walls kind of thing.
Okay.
But
nice.
it's called the Flycatcher Club. It's really cool. There's a music venue called Beer City Music Hall, and then there's a brewery called Fairweather Friends Brewery. So there's like, and it's all like the same parking lot. So my hope is that like, oh, are you coming for the concert? Come throw axes before the concert. Oh, are you, or like, oh, are you going to the brewery later? Come, oh, let's do brunch league on Sunday, and then we can go get drinks at the brewery afterwards or something. That's my hope.
Hey, that's a very good hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I was about to say, like, are you worried about the noise of any of your targets against any walls? But you're against a music venue and a bar, so you should be okay.
So the where the targets are, they're on this like basically they're on a wall that doesn't share, like it's not like the other side is the outside.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do worry about the, like, just like kind of like rattling the wall that, like, it's like we built a standalone wall and then kind of like fastened it so that way like brace it against it. But I do still worry about that. But it is nice to know that, like, yeah. And my business partner's like, he's like, hey, will you throw real loud? I'm gonna go next door and see if I can hear it. It's like, I got you.
Two great stories at my Waddle venue, Krabby. They share one wall. Their targets all share a wall with the beauty salon next door. And we always joke about, like, how much do they actually hear? I mean, they did tell us they have like a cinder block distance roughly between their target structure and their actual shared wall. But you're right, any vibration is kind of interesting. And then at Choppers, they share a wall with the new gaming store. So they do table games. They have like live tournaments and stuff, and they sell and they have a shop. So we had what was that time? Choptober, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We went over there, hung out, and then we did a shovel, fun little shovel skill matches and stuff like that. And the next day, people went over there to hang out and see, check out the games. And they're like, "Are you guys axe throwers?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Well, you guys knocked shit off our walls last night." They come off. And I'm like, yeah.
Ugh.
They were upset, but they were just thought that was really funny.
Well, actually, it wasn't the axes; it was the shovels. So it's not
shovel
as
axes.
big a deal. I don't know how often they throw shovels at choppers, but
Sorry.
just blaming it. You're like, no, okay. It wasn't the axe throwers. Okay, it was those shovel throwers.
Yeah.
Those damn shovel throwers.
Can't
You always
believe
put in the right
them.
place.
So we talked, like, we've brought up your podcast a few times now, but so kind of what's the when, why, and the how of like the creation of your podcast?
So the TLDR on my pod, also the very clever name. It's just an axe throwing podcast. I didn't come up with the name before. I'm not good at order of operations. Like I'm gonna do stuff, and then I'm doing stuff, and it's like, oh, this needs a name. And so the first person that I interviewed was Jesse Hummel, Throw. Right. And the basically like the why is like that dude seems like he's got a cool story, right? And like I want to know that story. I assume other people want to know that story. And like also like that's a cool person, and like I don't think my I don't imagine my podcast helps anybody, but like maybe it could, like so it's like, hey, like, because I know anybody that has like a small business or anything, or like a brand or anything to promote, or anybody that's like, if they're trying to secure sponsors for something, right, like athletes trying to get sponsors to pay for them, to go to worlds and stuff like that, but really it's just like the stories and like the conversations and discussions that we had at Urban Austin when I started throwing were often not specific to Austin, right? Some of them were, right? But like, sure, like, it's like, new rules discussions or stuff like that. Like, like these conversations, like I think they're happening all over, and it'd be cool if, essentially like they could be had in a larger format where more people can contribute to them. And I know Facebook is a thing. I don't like Facebook. I don't like most social media, just because it's like it's not good for me. It's like it never ends, and they don't put the good shit on the top. And so it's like, and also like I just feel like it's it's a lot of like noise, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, I'd much rather like, and it doesn't capture tone, right? Like written language doesn't capture tone. And so it's like, okay, cool. Like, so I started with Jesse, and I'm like, I just want to interview cool people, and like it's like a way for me to, I try like I want to grow the sport. I want there to be more axe throwing out, and so it's like a way to like, all right, this is something that I could do to contribute. Like I have enough AV knowledge to know how to do it, and I feel like I can ramble for a long enough time. And so it's like, all right, cool. Like, and it's kind of like just an experiment, right? It's like, I'll try it, see how it goes. I haven't done an episode in over a year because of 14 dogs. But, and so it's like, oh, either like, it just kind of turned into like, and the stuff that like I like to do is I think like the rules discussions, that kind of stuff, like I think it's important to talk about that kind of stuff, but I also like stuff that's like kind of has like a longer like shelf life, like more longevity. Like somebody's like origin story isn't gonna change, like so like I go back and like listen to like somebody's origin story or something like that, or like because there's been even times where like myself I'm like, oh, I want to hear that story again, or like, or oh, I forgot a detail of that story, I want to go listen to that story again. And it's cool to like be like, oh, I'm gonna go. No, the hard part is finding which one. I mean, usually it's like when it's guest dependent. You're like, okay, I'm pretty sure it was that guest, so it's somewhere in one of these hours. Oh no, I need to transcribe these, and so I can Control F search these things. But which shout out to Alada, because they're like theirs has like chapters. It's like, that's amazing. Do y'all have chapters too? I think like
No.
like I have no judgment here. I don't have chapters or transcriptions or nothing. Like at this point I'm like, I'm trying my hardest just to give you a recording.
Yeah, we just got audio and video and 7 episodes. You're a lucky number 7.
Should have hung out for 13. Actually, I'll take 7. 7. That's how much the clutch is worth. 7. There we go.
Yeah,
there we
exactly.
Go.
Yeah, the clutch episode.
No, I do not. I haven't thrown ITF in like over a year. It's definitely not. The missed clutch episode. Actually, there. Okay. I do miss throwing ITF. As far as like. I do want to continue doing the podcast. Like I miss doing it. I apologize to everybody that I was like, yeah, I'd love to interview for the podcast, and that list is like probably like still 40 plus people long in the backlog, and then it's like, oh no, and then it's like actually one of the people I that was like in that backlog, and I apologize I didn't get to it in time, but I'm glad that she got to tell her story, was Susie Murphy on the Alada interview. Like, yeah, like that was like, but yeah, so it's like I want to get back into it, but I also realized like, Axe venue, competing, full-time job, partner, dogs, D&D. Like, I should exercise. I really like. I used to exercise semi-regularly. That's just nope. That doesn't. Like walking dogs, I guess, or throwing. But I don't think that. I don't think I've ever burnt more calories throwing than I've consumed while throwing.
I think you made a very good point, though. I mean, I think I listened to almost all your podcasts.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really have. I mean, not as a bad thing, but it's a great when I travel from work to Waddle on Wednesday. It's with traffic now almost a 2-hour drive. So what better way than listen to a podcast? I know 2 hours, it's rough. But the takeaways, though, like you say, at least for me, is those little random tidbits that you throw in or your guest says. Like, they say, I've been reading this book about yada yada. I'm like, I'm driving, but I need to know this book. And I'm trying to look like when like the time mark is, like the timestamp, so I can come back without trying to get into an accident. But yes, all that.
All right. Now I have a reason to go figure out how to do chapters and transcriptions so I don't get anybody killed. Because I'm also one of those people. I'll be like listening to a song like, oh, this is a good song. Oh, what was that lyric? Start Googling the lyrics while I drive, and then I yell at myself like, what are you doing? Stop. But then my ADHD brain's like, if we don't do it now, it's lost forever.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to forget when I get there.
Yeah. Oopsies. Sorry, other people on the road. Better watch out, I guess.
I needed to know the lyrics of R.R. Williams' Tulsa.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was great. So when you started the podcast, you talked about it a little bit, like with the storytelling. But was there anything that you really wanted to do with it, or did you just was it just to hear people's stories and like share that information?
I mean, honestly, it was more like all I wanted it to be was like I wanted it to be like I want each interview to be whatever like my guest wants out of it. Like,
okay.
Like it's like I don't like I don't think like I think I'm a spaz and occasionally funny, mostly annoying, right? Like but like I'm like, but I know cool people that do interesting things, and so it's like, if I can give them a place to kind of like, talk about themselves and like in their interests. And I feel like I do feel like I'm a very curious person, and I can ask lots of questions, mostly dumb ones, and it turns out that is I never. Okay, this is not what you asked, but it's related. I never wanted to have so many conversations about whether a hot dog is a sandwich, but I'm not upset that has become a thing.
Okay.
I remember that episode. I can't tell you who it was with, but
It's like every other one. That conversation happens constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, I was also gonna ask. So some of your, I actually, I only started. I have not finished all of your podcast episodes yet. I will be honest, but I only recently started listening, and I've been enjoying it a lot. But some of the episodes, I am so curious. They are more than 5 hours long. How in the fuck do you record for that long? That is crazy.
But that's why I said everybody should go buy one of Tyler Flynn's Gorilla Boy promo code backpack. But like that 2024 has been a rough year, and I reflect on this that was absurd. I held him hostage. The answer to the how is water break, bathroom break, drink break. It's a bit like an intermission, and then somebody's like, and then actually, you know what? So Graham, you mentioned how you're like, oh, I listened to it on long drives, right? Somebody told me that at a tournament. They're like, oh, I was like, because I asked them I know they're getting long. I'm worried it's a problem. Is it a problem? They're like, no, I listen to it on road trips. It's fine. I drive tournaments. I catch up on your podcast. And I was like, you don't know what you've just done. You've just enabled
Pandora's box is open.
you've just incentivized bad behavior. So I don't think I'll do that again. I don't. I say that, but I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's not. It's half the time. It's not about Axelar. It's like, dude, Dungeons and Dragons rabbit hole for an hour. Okay.
Oh, 100%. No, we cannot talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We cannot. That will be very bad. Bad rabbit hole. Full too deep.
Yeah. What Skyrim build do you think is OP? All right.
No.
This is great because I know nothing really about what you guys are talking about.
All right, so we're gonna hold Graham hostage here for the next
Yes,
7 hours
hostage.
while we talk about nerd shit.
The most I know about, I work for Lego on the side. So we have our Lego set for Dungeons and Dragons we came out with for their 40th anniversary. And we came out with little Dungeons and Dragons mini figures.
I did not know that you worked I guess I'm seeing, is that Lego on your shelf behind you?
Oh, yeah. That's Hobbit.
I did not know. I've been to Hobbiton. I got to go to New Zealand in 2016.
That's so cool.
Yes. That's cool. I had a real beer at the Real Green Dragon.
What?
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was cool how much Lord of the Rings is still a part of that. They've just kind of embraced it. You go to an airport and there's just Lord of the Rings stuff at the airport. You're like, is that an Orcai at the airport? Sure is. Graham, I have a Lego question for you.
Yeah, of course.
Are there because this actually kind of ties back into a question you asked earlier. Are there Lego meetups or public social Lego thing?
That's funny you say that because you two talking about Dungeons and Dragons is probably what I could then talk to your ear about when it comes to Lego. So yes, there is. So there are what are called LUGs, LUG, Lego user groups. And Lego you can be a certified Lego user group. Lego has specifications on how close one can be to another, but you can be unlimited amount of members, and it's Lego's way to help kind of branch out and know how much the community and is part of them. But they do that, and then they host events everywhere. We have a big one coming up, or we did in Virginia. I'm on a tangent. Yeah. There's tons of Lego stuff everywhere.
So with those kind of events, because that sounds like a big rent a conference center kind of thing.
It is.
Are there small weekly Lego meet, because like that's I've been trying to think of like what other things like because one of my buddies, he loves Lego so much so that like when I helped him move from one apartment to another, I was like, this box is heavy. What's in this giant box? He's like, that box is full of Lego. And he would he got mad if I pluralized it. He's like, it's Lego. It's not Legos. It's Lego. I was like, oh,
Yep.
okay.
I do the exact same thing to anyone else who says it that way. I will totally do that hands down.
Yeah, I got that talk.
Yeah, we tired about that.
I said Lego wrong talk.
But yeah, there's huge conventions and they're freaking awesome. They break it down to themes. Like you have people who just build what are called mocks, my own creations of just like giant scenes of a battle of whatever, Star Wars. It could be, we have pop art theme. They do pirates, old classic, anything classic that people who have been like our age or older who've been in with the Lego brand for so long, they're like, we love the nostalgic stuff of it. And they will totally just bring what they have and show these amazing little builds they've done. Other people just go online and buy tons and tons of Lego minifigures to make these ginormous like armies and just build armies. Civil War reenactments and military stuff.
That's awesome. Do you have a lot of like fellow Lego people in like your Axe community?
As Sam know, so I've been dubbed the dealer, the Lego dealer, because they'll be like, Graham, hey, I saw there's a new Lego set coming out. Are you getting it in? I'm like, yeah. Can you get it for me? I'm like, yes, I can get it for you.
You're the connect.
I am the connect.
I guess the reason I ask is that like, just like the kind of like D&D, it's like a communal game, right? Like video games I could play all night by myself and just go be a hermit. Oh, that's cool.
That's the Paladin.
Dope.
Yeah. For all those who are not viewing, this is Lego.
Yeah. Sorry, audio listeners.
A Lego minifigurine.
Yes.
Was it a dragon head holding a staff and a shield?
It's a mace and a shield.
Mace and shield. Okay.
Hmm? I have that figure. Yeah, because
it's trying to describe it.
Oh yeah.
Neat.
It's that one. Yeah.
So I guess my kind of question is that like, you know how like different acts, like leagues, there'll be like theme weeks or nights or something. Like, oh, we're gonna do a costume night, or we're gonna do like a jersey night, or what, like just anything kind of like that. I've been trying where.
Oh wait, like, hold on. Sorry, you cut out. Can you say those last two sentences again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I've been trying to imagine like if like what if an Axe Throwing venue hosted like a small Lego event to try and get people that love Lego that maybe have never thrown axes to like, hey, come try axe throwing, right? Is like, well, I think for like, a lot of venues like you have like the costume night, like jerseys. I think I did one league where we dressed up as like for somebody's birthday. We all tried to dress up as that person.
Yes, I've seen people venues do that. Or leagues, leagues do that. Yeah.
And I love all that kind of stuff. That's to me that's some of the most fun kind of community oriented stuff. And but like the idea of like what's stuff that people that maybe weren't interested in throwing axes, but they're like, oh, I want to go do my favorite thing, and my favorite thing is happening at an axe throwing venue. Well, you want to go do that thing and try axe throwing while we're there? That's kind of my hope.
No, that'd be awesome. That'd be dope. Play devil advocate. I feel like it'd be a cost-effective thing unless you have people bring their own. Because, like for example, Throwing Bows, Erica out of Baltimore. She works on the side. She is with the Special Olympics. So for fundraising, I suggested a Lego themed event for fundraising. So I would supply the Lego, obviously, and So we've done different. We've done. Yeah, Sam. Why would I ever do that? Do I know anything about Lego?
I don't know.
So at like these big Lego conventions, I was taking some of the ideas they've done for games. So one is called a blind build challenge. And the way that works is, say, Bill, you and I are on a team. We're both sitting in chairs, but our backs to each other. You have the pieces in front of you, and I have the instructions. And I have to tell you, pick up the red 2x, and I've described the piece. And now you get to take this piece and put it, and it's the first team who wins and builds it correctly. Because you can't see. Yes. Other people have done where you take, so if you ever go to Walmart or Target, even a Lego store, Lego stores don't really sell them, but what are called poly bags. They're just a plastic bag and it has bricks, and it's a small little build. Well, Lego fans love the challenge of not opening it and just using the picture on the outside and just feeling and building it through the bag. And then you just hold it up.
Like a ship in a bottle?
Kind of like a ship in a bottle, yeah. So I was thinking of doing the same thing, but making it a little bit easier by just putting it in like a larger size sandwich bag. They can like look at the instructions or whatever, but they got to build it in the bag, something like that. So yeah.
Okay. I guess like do you think, are there any like kind of small things that could fit on like could coincide with like an axe throwing league? Like, hey, like this week at League, we're playing with Lego in between rounds. Or is that something that only Graham would be into?
Might be. I'm done. Yeah, I think that'll be tough. That'll be tough. Because I think you'd be stepping away too much from it.
That makes sense.
I think having it's kind of like doing like breweries do like paint night sometimes, or those paint night event things. I feel like you do the same thing. Like you're at a brewery, I'm enjoying my beer, but I'm also get to build Lego and do some other activities. Like to bring the two things together. This kind of coincides with how can you bring the Lego with the axe throwing? So.
I had an idea. This might not be like for a league night, but you could do this for like a fun event night where like if you got into teams, then based on how many like rounds you win or your score or something like that, then you can have like small builds and you can add those number of pieces to the build, and the first team that actually like completes the Lego build, then they would like be the champions.
Neat.
Yeah.
That would be neat. Yeah. I could see that.
Neat. All right. Well, thank you for indulging my Lego curiosity.
Of course. Anytime. Anytime.
So do you have, I know you've kind of taken a break from the podcast for a little bit, but do you have any future goals either for the podcast or for yourself, as like as an axe thrower, other than, maybe opening your venue doors?
That one I have to do. That one it's like I think on the venue it's like that might be like the most I've ever gone all in on a project. But as far as the podcast goes, I'd like to resume doing it at some point. When I don't know, because a lot of times when I stop doing something, it's not like I'm done with this forever. I'm tired of it. It's more like I'm taking a break, and then like, well, Bill, I thought you did martial arts. Yeah, I'm taking a break for a decade. Taking a solid decade off. So the podcast, I'd like to get back to it. It's just gotta figure out. It's like not the most important thing. I don't even think it's probably like a top 5 most important thing. But I definitely want to get back to it. Maybe if the episodes weren't 5 hours long, I could probably fit it into my schedule more. That's probably why I can't do it as much. As far as other goals, like I'd love to win a major tournament. I've never done I feel like the phrase like going all in kind of comes to mind. And like last year at Worlds, I think the best I did was I went 4-2 in Big Axe at Waddle Worlds. And I think at ITC 2022, I think I went 3-2 in Hatchet. No, maybe I went 4-2. I think Jed knocked me to B, and then Rowdy Rob knocked me out. But like that was kind of like only throwing like part time, I guess, right? Like, and I would practice, but like it's one of those things. Like, what if I like practiced more than I ever did? Like, I think, like, I wonder if I could actually like win. So I think the goal is like I want to win a major tournament. Like, then I would definitely rock the big champion coin. Although that one's probably too big to fit. But no, like, because it's like I do love the competition, and one of the things I love about like axe throwing competition is like having competed in MMA. Like, there's the idea that like in MMA, like for me to win, somebody else has to lose, right? Like I win. I might have like I might have got hurt despite winning, or my opponent got hurt. Like, I hate that. Like in an axe throwing, it's like, oh, like there's been times where axe throwing is like one of the few sports where maybe one of the only sports I've ever done where like I've been happy with a loss. Right, where I threw well and my opponent threw better, or like one time I got somebody took a round from me at a tournament and they threw their high score ever, and it's like that was like that's awesome, like to be able to like kind of be a part of somebody else, like even just losing, that's cool, like that was special, so yeah. But I do, I am competitive. I do like competing, and I do hope to compete more now that I have hopefully have a better space, and I hope to try like the venue can kind of like cultivate like a more not like competitive, like no we're just, but just like a fun loving competitive culture.
Yeah.
I want to start participating in like the community games, like that'd be fun.
Well, the venue will also help you as a thrower yourself, being able to have free reign to go and practice and for yourself.
That has been a double-edged sword, because it's like it has been to the point where it's like I'm like I'll go. Aren't you supposed to be like building shelves today? Yep. Damn it, missed the Premier 81. Like, but it does have like a weird thing to my. I have been trying to do like practice tournaments where like because with like a tournament, like you sit for a while, in between matches, especially early, and so it's like I'll show up and I'll like throw a match kind of cold, like I got to a tournament late, and then I'll go do a task for like 30, 45, 60 minutes and try and just get to like a good stopping point on the task, and then I'll go throw another match, right? And so then just trying to like essentially like punctuate like practice match, task, practice match, task, right? And so that's been kind of a cool like way to like scratch that practice itch while it's right there, while also like still trying to be productive.
Yes, that's very good.
But it is hard to not just like I could just practice for like 90 minutes and nobody could tell me I can't.
Let me talk to the owner. Oh wait.
Yeah, that guy runs a real loose ship.
Just leaves axes sitting around. God, I should just throw them.
I am pretty good about putting my stuff away. I try not to leave, but yeah.
Do you have a place for bring your own dog? Do you have a place for bring your own dog? You have so many dogs as it is.
I'm on the fence about bringing dogs because it's not really like it's pretty like open, and it's kind of like it's not a big space, and it's pretty open for the size that it is, and it's like just the idea of like I think that's gonna be like I'll wait and see. I don't think on day one. No, I do think I want to partner with like the rescue that we worked with like on our foster dogs. Because they like I want to host like adoption events, but that's like
cool.
Puppies in a pen, and then like come and pick up, and also but I don't like also like my dogs are weird. Like I have 3 dogs and they're each like they're each like missing something. Like the one like doesn't like car rides or walks. The other one likes car rides and walks but doesn't like other dogs. The one likes dogs and car rides but doesn't like people. I was like, can one of you just be a complete dog?
Merge together.
Yeah, like you're so close. Like so that's my dogs, right? Like but if somebody else has like a well-behaved dog and they're like, yeah, the dog just listens and voice controlled, like, yeah, I'm not opposed to it. So TBD.
Yeah.
You have
But you're definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Rock, paper, scissors. No, I was gonna say you're spot on with the. I go first. No, you're spot on with those times in throwing, whether it's in a tournament or even just league, or a major or whatever. And I know I've been knocked out, but I've been knocked out. Like we'll go back and forth with rounds, and then it comes down to big axe, and it's like that person knocks me out on a big axe clutch. We both bull in, and we both go up, and it's like if that's how I'm gonna go. So be it. I love it. That's how I want to go. I don't want to be swept. I don't want that sweep. I hate that feeling. I think we all do. But to go big axe and having that memorable moment, it's like I lost. I know, but I went out the way. I felt comfortable and it was enjoyable. I had a great time.
Yeah, like it's cool to be able to like look back on those and you're like that's a loss, but it's in the positive memory bucket.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's something that I have worked a lot on recently, because originally I really struggled with it because I was like, well, fuck that. Losing is losing, But I think when you really think about it, it's an individual sport. So when you throw well and you feel good about how you threw, regardless of if you won or lost, it really helps. And it's kind of like, oh, well, like in our last league playoffs, like I went 0-2, but I still felt good about it because I threw well, So I was like, well, it's not, I want to, like, it happens, but I did good. So I can't really complain about it,
Yeah. One of the things I like about the IETF format, where it's like a lot more rounds and just less throws per round, is I feel like it leads to a lot more kind of like essentially like growth indicators or like progress indicators, right? Like I've seen a lot more like rookies take a round off of like the reigning league champ at IETF leagues than I have like waddle leagues, right? Because like in 10 throws, like the better thrower is usually going to like emerge, right? Like but in 5 throws, like, okay, cool. Okay, say like the favorite, oh, they had an unlucky throw in 1. The rookies having like a good day, and then they're like, I'm gonna try and clutch this person out, and then they miss the clutch, and then it's like, and then the rookie just has to like, oh, if the rookie throws a bowl, they take a round, right? And then like, and I've even seen like like myself, I've been knocked out, and so it's cool to like see those people like, and it's like I've beaten myself up about it, but like I think those like that, I think that stuff is important because I think it's like those things that like help keep people coming back. This is like throwing, like hitting your first clutch. That's a milestone of sorts in my opinion. Like just throwing like all of like the perfect, like I like how ITF has like 3 perfect games in a round, right? You have like a 5 bowl perfect, a 20, was it a natural, supernatural,
and an unnatural.
And unnatural. Yeah. Like I like those. Each one of those things, right? Like is like a milestone of sorts. Ironically, I think I threw my 81 before I ever threw a natural 75.
Okay.
But it's just like the circumstance, right? And so and then once you can do that for 1 round, then it's like, all right, cool. Now can you extrapolate that to 3, right? And so like even just thinking back to like the first time, you're like, I didn't get an 81, but I did hit all 3 of my clutches. Like that was a big deal to me the first time I did that, because and so I like a lot of those little, like, I think there's a lot of stepping stones in that kind of format that I really like.
I don't know if it's because of my venue or because of Waddle, but on the Waddle side, I know how if you look at the Waddle app, how it keeps track of like, oh, you're a senior now because you've thrown X amount of games or you scored this many points, or
the badges.
Yeah, the badges. I mean, they're cheesy in a sense, but they do still give a sense of accomplishment. And even though I'm playing Waddle there at that venue, it's more probably the atmosphere that they bring to all of us there that it's just more fun. I could care less about those badges. I honestly always forget until I'm like, oh, what am I even doing in this? And I scroll down, I'm like, why is there so much on this thing? And like, oh, I had badges. Look at that. Stuff like that. It's like
I forget about those things too. It's like, I'm an elder or like whatever. It's like, look, hey, badge. I know I got gray in my beard. Leave me alone.
I laugh and I joke to myself that I'm 5 years away now from applying to the swaddle. Have you heard of that?
Okay. Yeah, the Senior World Axe Throwing League.
The Senior World Axe Throwing.
There's
I think it's at 50 now, but I think they're talking about 45 as a new entry. So, if that's the case.
45 feels so young.
As a 37-year-old, 37 does not. If anything, 2024 has just been me like taking inventory of all the things that are like all the new pains or the ones that the intensifying pains or it's so weird to have like a like I feel like my brain is immature, but I'm in like a like my body is aging.
Yes, I feel like I can relate to that. Yeah, Sam can attest to that. At least what comes out of my mouth versus everything else.
I think a lot of axe throwers are that way. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people that come and throw sharp objects are just like silly, goofy guys, no matter how old they are.
But that like I didn't know that that's what axe throwing was gonna be, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is where I belong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how it works out. You find yourself in like a place that you never thought you would be, but somehow it makes sense.
Yeah.
Do y'all ever have that like conversation with yourself? Like if you go back in time and tell your past self what your future self, is doing or will be doing or did, like how your past self would react? Because like my partner and I, we went to high school together. We were high school sweethearts, and I was like, hey, if 20 years ago when we were in biology class that we'd never spoken, he said like, hey, you and that dude from the back row are going to be living in Oklahoma together. She'd be like, no, go away. Like, it's just kind of fun to kind of think on some of those. But I do that way too much.
Yeah.
It is shocking. I mean, I'm amazed how I first met you, Sam, for just axe throwing. She was in there for a free league night.
Yeah, the open house.
And the open house, and I just popped my head. Your coach was Alan, and like we said this before.
No.
And
that night my coach was Taylor. Alan was my coach when I went on Mother's Day.
Wow, I know it was one of them.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, the coach was trying to convince you, and I popped my head in the fence and made some sly, funny remark or something like, "Oh yeah, you should join Tuesday this."
Yeah, well,
and then you're looking at me like, "Who is this strange guy just randomly? I'm trying to learn how to throw here."
Well, then it was really funny because also Taylor was like, "Well, that guy's one of the best throwers, going to the World Championships this year." And then I was like, "What? There's a World Championships? Like that's so cool!" Like, I don't know. I think too. As soon as I found out about the competitive side, it was like, "Oh, that's crazy! All in." So I think it's fun.
Cool, not especially it's like I feel like it's so easy. There's like so many people that are willing to like help, because I think like in like when I think it took me 2 or 3 seasons to get a standard 81 back in like 2018, right? And so I think like, but then by the end, like by 2019, we were seeing like people in their first season throwing 81s.
Yeah,
and it's cool to see like how much people share information, almost to the point where like like sometimes like I feel like I've probably done this from like I have to like remind myself like they didn't ask for help, like don't force help on them, like oh whoops sorry.
That definitely happened to me with so I've been throwing I think almost 5 years now, and the little friends group I've been with now has gotten new into axing. They've been now throwing just over a year, and they got their everything good.
Yeah, Carl, I'm going off. I'm just trying to make sure.
Okay, that's fine. The Yeah, he's like coming up to me. He's like, I can't wait. You know, my goal is to get my 81 before my, you know, I've been throwing for 1 year. I'm like, I like kick myself. Like, why didn't I think of that when I was throwing whip back then? But then I had a different mindset. I wasn't thinking about that. Had different goals in mind. I mean, it took me, I think, 4 years. I honestly don't remember. It was definitely more than a year to get my first 81. Um, but it was just as memorable as when he got his. And then we now have this bet of who can get to 50 81s, standard 81s first. And he won, of course. But he's been throwing less than I have. And so he crushes my soul, but he's a great guy. So always fun.
Do you remember like I like I didn't start out like super competitive. I was like, I need to win this league. And then I started doing it. It's like, oh, I liked it. It's like, and then I was like, oh, I want to win a league. I want to see what that feels like. And then like winning like like coming from B and having like back-to-back seven, like best of sevens, like, and it's like when you've like 14 matches where like those are like some of my favorite nights like ever, like the most epic. And it's crazy that like anybody kind of has access to that at an axe throwing league. Like anybody, like obviously, like like there's the competitive piece, but like there, like depending on like the number of leagues, like I also like how leagues will sometimes like just self-organize. Like, oh hey, like and sometimes it's inconvenient. Like for example, like when I was in Wednesday Blue, Wednesday Green became like the murder league, and I was like, oh, I want to do that, but like Wednesday Blue is my home. In retrospect, I could have just done Wednesday Green and still just turned around and hung out with Wednesday Blue because I did that too. But it's like I had that like loyalty to. But it is cool because I feel like there's like a lot of like, if the demand is there, I feel like league focused venues will like kind of make it happen. Like if there's enough people that want to throw a league, but like just that act of like winning a league, like it's almost, if you do it enough, like the odds are that you'll probably get one at some point. And it's a really cool feeling.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, we have that at least on Tuesday, which is Sam and I play on. Tuesday Green is, at least for Tuesday, like the new Murder League. I mean, two seasons ago, all of us were competing to see how many 81s we could get as a collective in one night. And it was just awesome. It was just like, come on, we're all cheering each other on because we know how good we are. I mean, we know all of us should all be hitting in the high 70s, if not getting that 81 each time. But then you had to look across the lanes from us, there you go, across the building, and you have Tuesday Blue, who I started in, and they're kind of, in my sense, the party bunch, which is great. They love it. They do their potlucks. They put a schedule at the beginning of the season. This is what each one's going to be. They do outside social stuff, and other leagues do too. But that atmosphere is so different, but we still just able to blend together. It's just so fascinating.
That's awesome. I had a question, but I think I forgot it. Yeah, I forgot it. No worries.
Do you have anything else? Oh.
What? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I heard a computer beepy noise, but maybe I didn't, and it was all in my brain, and there was no computer beepy noise. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else, unless there's anything else that you really wanted to talk about, Bill.
No, I think we talked about a lot of stuff, and probably some stuff I didn't expect to talk about. Yeah, and I definitely look. We already talked about not doing 5-hour podcasts, and this.
We're almost halfway there.
Yeah, no, that's we look. If we could get it under 2.5, then that's a 50% improvement.
I did want to tell you, Bill. Choppers, probably slightly because of Chris Ross. So you might have heard of it. They do the Iron Man on Black Friday. That's always a great time. I love doing that. That's so much fun.
Whoa,
But I saw this.
That sounds fun.
Oh,
is that
fun.
A regular? How many years have they been doing that? Because I might have to start planning for that. And
that's a good question. I want to say they've been doing it 3, maybe 4 years now. But every Black Friday, it's like that's their thing. They'll do obviously one standard side of the venue will be standard, the other side will be premier, and then it's fun. They'll run also, depending on the amount of people and as well as interest, they'll do a never thrown an 81. So if you've never thrown one, you're allowed to join, and it's a great, accomplishment to be there and spend a marathon and get that. This year they did never thrown more than 10 81s. So
damn.
a little different, little twist to it.
I could have wait, is it 10 in a season or 10 total?
Total.
Okay.
Career, yeah. But then I saw the venue in Ohio, I think it's called IndieX. They're doing a kind of like a triple marathon of a whole weekend of Big X marathon, standard, and premier. I'm like, yes. My body's gonna hate. I'm gonna try, yeah. My body's gonna hate me, but my body's saying, Graham, don't do that. No. And I want to be like, yes, take my money.
You're like, but I'm gonna regret it if I don't. You're like, but I'm also gonna regret it if I do.
Exactly. This ad is sponsored by BioFreeze.
Oh my gosh. Before we wrap, did you have anything that you wanted to shout out or share, Bill, that you're like working on right now? Anything you want to let people know about?
I mean, I guess I don't know if she'll listen to this. I don't think she listens to my podcast. But shout out to my partner because I'm a lot, and it's 2024 has been a year. But no, shout out to Lindsay. Shout out to business partner Han. Like, dude's awesome. Again, I'm still a lot to deal with. It's like I didn't know I could be particular about certain things, and it's like, apparently, which stain should we use? I gotta go Google stuff for an hour. Like shout out to y'all. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. It's been a chill Sunday morning.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute honor to have you. So much appreciated. Graham, you wanna switch it up? Do you wanna say the outro this time?
I'm gonna mess it up. I know I am.
We have to say half of it anyway.
I just need to write it down on my phone or something, so I never mess it up. But then that would ruin it. Then go ahead, you leave it out.
Okay, all right. Well, we will have Bill's links below. Your website is up, so we'll definitely put his upcoming venue website link down below.
Hey, cool, it is up. That's good to know.
But thank you all so much for watching and or listening. We will see you all for the next episode, because we are not axe murderers here.
We're axe throwers.
Yeah!
Is that right?
Woo! There we go.
Thanks,
all right. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.